Welcome back. We're going to begin the second half hour with my friend Charlie. And Charlie's building a house. Think that would have happened if you were drinking?
No way. I'd be dead now.
You think so?
Yeah. I owe my life to the 12-step program I'm in. You know, and I don't represent that 12-step program. I only represent what it's done for me.
Right.
Nobody represents it. You know,
right.
It's, they're not affiliated with anything. And you know, I got my daughter married. Got one son through college. You know, I just anything at all I've done has been the result of staying away from a drink. You know?
And your kids are all doing all right?
Yeah, actually, I had a tough run with the youngest one, but you know, for the last 12, 13 years, he hasn't. Oh, probably closer to 15. He's had no problems. You know, he just.
Oh, 15 years.
Yeah, he's
no
he's 34. No, none of them have a problem with booze or drugs.
Oh.
You know, when I say he had a rough run, he was just in
kid.
and out of a little minor trouble, and like, you know, I'm in charge, and okay, all right, good for you, and you know, and but you
how
know,
old's he, the youngest?
He's 34, 35. When I quit drinking, I couldn't tell you how old they were within a year. I didn't even know what grade they were in. I was working 2 jobs, barely, and, you know, just hammered all the time. And I was coming home, they were in bed, and I was leaving when they were in bed. And the times I wasn't home, it was, hey, Dad. And they'd, no, I've had a long week. You know what I mean? It was just.
Yeah. Well,
you know.
In my opinion, there can't be any, what's the word, relationship. We're vacant. We're in another world. We're in another world. I was.
But I knew there was something wrong. I just didn't know how severely my alcoholism was responsible. You know, I mean, I looked at how I was raised and how I was raising them. You know, they say an alcoholic's not capable of love, and, you know, I don't believe that. But I believe that an alcoholic's incapable of actually showing the love or acting on the love. You know, I love my kids. If they die, I'll be sad and cry, but what could you do to prevent it? As an active alcoholic, I couldn't have done anything. You know, nothing.
And you hear in the walls of 12-step, myself included, with how strained it is with my son, who's going to be 53. Charlie, 53.
You're an old guy, huh?
73. I just turned 73, but I feel pretty good. Yeah.
Well, my daughter's 45.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of her. When she was younger, you know, I say, Sherry, don't have any kids because you're too self-centered and self-absorbed, you know. But I'll tell you, she's got 3 kids, and her life is dedicated to those 3 kids.
Yeah.
You know, they surprise you.
They certainly do.
You know.
And one, yeah. But like I said, all the heartache that people have had to go through that we've listened to, you know, with their kids and not having the kids and, you know, up the street, up on the hill, Orchard Street.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stories, man.
I've learned one thing in my program is you got to give yourself time. You know, I mean, you know, a lot of alcoholics and addicts, you know, they've lost their kids, you know, DSS, or, you know, they just, on their own, they just disappear. And when they get clean and sober, you know, I see that, you know, they want them back now. And it just doesn't work like that. You know, it just takes time. You got to show people that, you know, I am clean and sober. It was 3 years before my mother congratulated me on being sober because I'd in and out of detoxes, you know, and I'm never going to drink again, and, you know, and that's not the approach. And, but, you know, me, I get along with my mother, we go out and eat and this and that, but she never said, I'm glad you're not drinking anymore until I had 3 years, you know, and.
Yeah. That's the only, you know, they talk about amends, but the only amend for me was staying sober.
Yeah.
Because same thing, they heard it all
Yeah, right.
through the years. Yeah.
I don't really consider myself an addict.
Yeah.
I did amphetamines and stuff to drink, but if
Right.
I wasn't drinking and someone offered it to me,
No.
I'm good. But they're just yets because I never really did opiates either because I just didn't like them, didn't like what they did to people, And anyway,
Did you see that in Nam?
no, I didn't
It
see
wasn't
any.
around,
I didn't
yeah.
see any drug use
Yeah.
in them.
Yeah.
Maybe a tiny bit of weed. We were combat. I mean,
Right.
nobody would tolerate anybody else being.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Right.
were anyway,
Yeah.
without
Right.
any help. But
Right.
they're all yets. And a lot of people have been dying with the opiates, and some of them I've known. They go out, and
Yeah.
then someone says, "Oh, you hear so and so?" Yeah, they found him hanging in his garage, or he
Right.
died of an overdose, and.
Right.
Didn't matter that they had young kids. It didn't matter. It's just the disease doesn't care who it takes or why it takes it.
It's so powerful. This thing is so powerful and so insidious, as they say. But I've watched, talk about women just giving their kids away. DSS giving them one more chance. They love their kids. They can't wait to be with their kids. Maybe they're up at Orchard Street or
Right.
another program. DSS is watching every move they make, and they're making headway, and then boom,
They go out.
back out.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it.
That's why I still do my program, because it could be me and I don't want it to be me.
Right.
I had open heart surgery a year ago, the 8th of March. And
Wow.
so it's like you wake up from that and, you feel like a bus is sitting on your chest and you can't move,
Oh, yeah.
And there's pain involved. And they would come in and they would say to me, what's your pain threshold? I go, what do you mean? Well, is it anywhere from 1 to 10? Is it 7 to 8, 9
Yeah.
to 10, 6 to 5 or whatever? So I'd say, yeah, it's 7, 8, 8, 9 or whatever. And so after a day or so, I asked them, why are you asking me that? And they said, well, that's how we decide what kind of opiate we give you.
Intravenous.
Yeah, right.
while you're there.
How much?
Yeah,
Anyway, so once I realized that's what they asked me, even if the level was high, I'd say 2 or 3. So I wouldn't, because
Yeah.
it's a yet, And
Yeah.
so when I was leaving, I was there for, 8 or 9 days, and they cut me loose. My son picked me up. My brother had the car, and they explained the meds I got to take. There's cholesterol,
Right.
And they go, and we're giving you a 60-day script for oxycodone. I'm there. No, I don't want the oxy. There's going to be pain involved. I understand that, but I'll do the pain. I'll do Tylenol or something. And she goes, okay. And I get down to the script window. My son's pushing me in a wheelchair, and they're explaining the meds as they're pushing them underneath the glass. And then she slips me a red bag with the oxy in it, and I push it back. I say, no, I don't want that. Yeah, but you've been prescribed it, and she pushes it back to me, and I says, I understand that. I told him upstairs I don't want it. And she goes, and she pushes it back to me. She goes, no one's ever given them back before.
No kidding.
And my son pushes it back and says, then take them home and sell them. You know what I mean? But my father's not taking them.
Yeah. So, what was the what led up to you getting sober? That month before, or I know about the DWIs, but how'd you pull it off? Trial and error.
Well, they say, desperation helps, and hopelessness helps. And I've been in and out of some detoxes, and, and I would drink even if I didn't want to. I'd have 3 or 4 days without a drink, and the obsessive compulsive behavior that comes with this disease was just overwhelming. And my last detox was Thanksgiving Eve. And I remember it was Danvers Detox. It was a 35-bed facility, all in one big room, and then a 15-bed drug section on the other side of the wall. And And I remember they wouldn't give me any meds because I had a heartbeat missing. And so I was awake all night, and everybody else just passed out. And I remember just looking at the ceiling and realizing I was going to be there for a long time. And I remember I wasn't going to see my kids at Thanksgiving. I wasn't going to see them at Christmas.
It was locked?
The place, yeah, if you wanted to leave, you could go through a window. It wasn't hard to get out of there.
But basically, yeah.
And,
How long, may I ask?
I was in Danvers for 7 to 10 days. They shipped me upstairs to the dry shelter for another week. They shipped me to Green Street in Lynn, RIC, Residential Intensive Care, for a month. Then I went back to the dry shelter for a month, waiting for a halfway house. And then I went to the Gavin house for 5 months.
Is that Worcester? Gavin?
No, it's
Boston?
South Boston.
Oh.
So it's an old police station. They got the old jail cells downstairs from the 1890s. That's where the guys would lift weights and do their laundry and stuff. But I just decided I didn't want to drink. You know, I heard a lot of things in AA. You know, I was going to meetings, and I noticed everybody was happy, and you know, they were loose, and they just didn't seem to be overly concerned about anything. And I'd listen to them talk, and there wasn't
people coming in.
Yeah, people, you know, just at a table and two people talking back and forth, and the speakers at the podium, and this is what I wanted. I want to be like these people. I used to be like these people. I want to be these people, and keep coming. You hear. Everything in the program is just repetition, because I'll forget. You know, remember when, don't steal, live and let live. It's a day at a time. You know, keep it in the day, and all these things. You know, after a while, started making sense. They say, bring the body, the mind will follow. And I always considered myself a bright guy, but after a while, I realized I wasn't all that bright. You know, and I know a lot less today than I did when I was younger, but I understand more. You know, and if I don't pick up the first one, I don't got to worry about the second one. It's all that simple. It's just so simple. Dr. Bob was one of the co-founders, and he sat there and said, let's not louse this thing up. Let's just keep it simple. And I think Rule 62 is don't take yourself so seriously. And I just wanted it. I wanted it. And you know, they say you need a higher power because there'll be nothing on earth will keep you from a drink, but a higher power will. And I have no idea what my higher power is. I really don't, but I do have one. And one time I wanted a drink. I knew the consequences. I knew where I was going to wind up. I knew. And I was going to drink. I just didn't care. For some reason, the gratitude wasn't there.
How long sober?
I was 5, 6 years sober. And who walked right in front of me just before I was headed for a package store was a guy who had 14 years. I had coffee with him. I knew him. I'd done work for him. And he just started talking and telling me how he went into a bar one time. He was all ready to take a double shot. And he didn't. He put the shot down, he got up and walked out. He goes, that's how a higher power works. He had no idea I was looking for a drink. He had absolutely no idea. And he sat there and said, I'll leave you with that. And he just went home, and I didn't drink. You know, your higher power, my higher power, puts people in my way to keep me from having a drink. It's just difficult to explain. It's strange, you know. I probably sound like I belong in a nut house, but
we both do. I know one guy early on. I think I was up in Knockeg, and he told a story that 19 years sober, was at a father-daughter thing, whatever it was, and had a thing of champagne on his table, as everybody, you know, like a wedding. So what the hell? And that was it. It took, he bounced for I don't know how many years, but I see him around now, and you know,
he's doing all right.
He's back, yeah.
You know, it's harder to come back the second time from what I hear. You know, I've been told, and and that's another thing about this program is everybody has a different way of doing it. You know, they have the the 12 suggestions, to go along with the 12 steps. And, most everybody I know who stays away from a drink uses the 12 steps. They have what they call a step meeting, and they go pretty regular, and it keeps their life even keel. And they all have a certain way of, some people meditate, some people, they get back to the religion of their upbringing. Other people, their higher power is nature. I mean, I don't think you'll find two people who stay sober exactly the same way.
No.
You know what I mean? No. It's a very open program. Come in and, do everything they tell you to do in the beginning, but after a while, this works, this doesn't, I'll keep this,
Right.
I won't do that.
Right.
And you're all set, and, well, you're not all set. It's ever vigilant. And
When I came in and it was up Narkeg, I knew that I could never have a drink again. Some people, keep it in the day. I like to keep life in the day if I
right.
can. But I know for the rest of my life, I couldn't drink, and I was fine with that because I had burnt. I scorched it. You were talking about flamethrowers. That was me. Anything in my path was disaster. So you were behind the halfway house and all that for how long?
7 or 8 months altogether.
Okay. And then what?
I went home. Back to the wife and the three kids.
Okay.
And they told me there, look, this family's gotten along just fine without you. So don't go back, start trying to be in charge. Just go back, go to work, pay your bills, and eventually they'll ask you to do this, they'll ask you to do that, and you'll find your place and you'll fit. And that's pretty much what happened. I just kept my mouth shut and went back.
Yeah.
And I did everything that a nice, responsible adult's supposed to do. And it all worked out just fine. I've always had a sponsor, and it's usually somebody close to my age and usually somebody who's had a similar background, so to speak, and approach the program the same. And I've always used them. I made a remark one time, I don't call my sponsor. It's because I see him 3 or 4 times a week.
Do you?
Yeah,
I probably know who it is.
Yeah, you do. Oh, yeah. Everybody knows this guy out there.
Yeah.
He's been around. But, and that's another thing, too. No matter where I go in North Central Mass, I pretty much run into somebody who's in the program.
Yeah.
And as soon as you see him, it's just like, quick bond. Hey, how you doing? What's going on?
Right.
And,
Right.
And just that meeting helps. It's like I say, I've said it a number of times already. It's difficult to explain how it works. All I know is I got a life second to none. I used to hear that and hate it. Yeah, who the hell do you think you are? But I do.
We're very fortunate. It's just so important. It's a big part of my life, or my life in the program, is seeing you come in, Big Lester, and you're still coming.
Yeah.
I haven't ever questioned it real hard. Why am I here? Why? And I still tell people, I've been sober. I've been sober a lot of years. Why am I telling them that? They must say, either he can have a drink, and a lot of pitfalls out there.
A lot of people I know, like when I went to the Vietnam reunion, I gave the bartender at the American Legion a couple $100, and I said, until it's gone, And he goes, well, what do you drink? He says, no, I'm a program boy. I don't drink. He goes, and yet you're buying everybody a drink. And I says, they can drink, let them drink.
Yeah.
I can't, I don't. That's all there is to it.
Right.
But it was 4 years before I went into a liquor store or a wedding or anything like that. I didn't test the waters.
Yeah.
I stayed away from it. And he goes, when I went in for open heart surgery, they stuck me on the table. Before they gave me the anesthesia, I had a big smile on my face, and I was kind of giggling. and somebody leaning over said, "What's so funny?" And I said, "I got 4 ex-wives wanting to be here because they don't believe I got a heart." And then,
Yeah.
and then I thought to myself that I'm going to have the last laugh on this disease if I die on this table. It's like I didn't want to die, but I mean, I wasn't good with it, but I came to grips with the possibility, and and I sat there and said, "That's the only way I'm ever going to beat this disease is if I die, because it's sitting here in my head, on my shoulder, all the time, waiting for me not to do what I know I should do, and it'll kill me." I know guys that got 15, 20, 30 years. They did 5, 10, 15 years in a program, and they stopped coming, and they haven't had a drink. And that's good for them, but that's not me.
Yeah.
I know it's not
For me, doing it alone with all that stuff running around your head, sitting home, and we know percentages of either, this is what I've observed, or it's my experience. See people, I don't say miserable, all right, but all by themselves, all that stuff coming in, nobody to talk to. I don't think I could have made it. I came in and I just fell in love. Somebody said, suicides, all that. They said, just don't drink.
Yeah.
I go, wow. Yeah. Wow. And then I look back and see how many times I quit and picked back up, and it was just that simple thing. I mean, it went on and on with me complicating it. And I was in a rage when I came back. I was in a rage. In fact, I didn't get in until I was 34. And when I did come in, I was in a rage. And you had a mouth on me, speaking a bad mouth. And your sponsor took me aside, and he said, "Why don't you do something about that mouth of yours?" And was I angry? I don't even know. For me, it was a PTSD. And, I could go into that whole thing. But it took me a lot of years, and I can snap. On the road.
Oh, well,
it's a crapshoot.
Everybody goes a little nutty on the road.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot better.
I want to follow you home and kill you.
Right. And that's going to get us
where. I feel like that sometimes.
I'm getting better because I know when you get in the car, it's a crapshoot. You don't know what's going to happen, who's going to cut you off, and still, boom. I'm ready. I'm 73 years old. Yeah. Okay, let's get out of the car. In fact, I was sober 30 years, 32 years, something like that. And a guy that I grew up with, who's passed now from this disease, we got into it. We're in the middle of Route 2, not in the middle, but a place by the side, coming up the hill, going up the hill on Route 2. And we're battling, wrestling around. And, yeah.
Keep coming.
No kidding. And, so we know what keeps you sober.
You talk about road rage or just rage in general. I had a beef with a guy. He's in a car, I'm in a car. And I just went like this, pull over. I'm ready. Whether I take a beating or not, I'm ready. And we pull over, and this guy, he had a small car, but he's getting out of the car, and he's getting out of the car, and he's getting out of the car. The guy was monstrous, and I stopped dead in my tracks. I just looked at him, and he goes, "We done here?" I go, "Yeah." And I turn around and get back in my car, eating crow. All right,
Yeah.
If I had been drinking, I would have I probably would have.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been buried. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, this guy would have stuffed me under my
Yeah.
car, to keep me out of sight
Yeah.
while he took off. But
Yeah, I feared no man when I was drinking in Colorado. I was stationed there, giving this big guy some stuff, and he just hit me once. He was from Denmark. The English were training. Boom, across the room, broken jaw. But yeah. Anyway,
No,
we're coming down the end here. Charlie, thank you so much.
no problem.
Yeah, it went smooth, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
smooth as silk.
And
I wonder how many people are going to come up to me. You shouldn't have said that. How come you didn't say this?
Yeah, you know what? It makes no difference
Yeah,
to
no, it
me.
don't. No, it
to
don't.
me,
No,
it doesn't. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what those people say. I don't care. I'm just trying to do this show and get people like you and it may help somebody or to some people to understand what going through it with their kids.
When we do commitments,
Yep.
we go to other groups and speak.
Right.
There's 3 speeches that you think
Yeah.
of. The one you want to say, the one
Yeah.
you say, and the one you
Right.
you wish you had
Right.
said.
Right.
So
We know we've been
it's
there.
water under the bridge. Don't drink, go to meetings and ask for help. They told me that's how it works. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I'll keep on doing.
And
And
it's working.
that's it.
It's working.
That's it.
Okay, I guess we're going to wrap it up, you guys. And the beginning. But they're good to me down there. They're so good with the show. We're going in the 4th year. This will be 63 episodes and still going strong.
You gonna get an Emmy or anything for this?
They did give me an award. It was wild. So that's it, gentlemen.